The world only sees the spotlight, the stage, the applause, the results. But what they never see is the silence that built it all. Because success is not born in front of the world. It's born far away from it. In the quiet hours when no one is watching, when no one believes, when no one claps. Success is built in silence, not in spotlight. The spotlight is the reward. But the silence, that's the test. And most people never pass it. They want the victory without the waiting. They want the recognition without the repetition. They want the applause before they've earned the effort. So they stop. They slow down when no one notices their work. They give up when their progress feels invisible. They disappear when the silence grows heavy. But that's when the real builders rise. The ones who understand that silence is not emptiness, it's preparation. It's the space where focus sharpens, where discipline hardens, where greatness is quietly forged piece by piece. Because when the world is watching, you perform. But when the world is silent, you transform. In silence, you learn to trust your own voice. In silence, you learn to move without applause. In silence, you build the kind of character that doesn't collapse under pressure. And that's the difference. Most people crave noise, but noise is fragile. It fades as fast as it comes. Winners crave the quiet, because they know the quiet lasts. They know if they can master the silent grind, the spotlight will chase them later. Every champion you admire spent years in that quiet place. While the world doubted them, they were sharpening their craft. While others posted, they practiced. While others waited, they worked. They built when it was lonely. They built when it was boring. They built when it felt like nothing was working, and they kept building anyway. So when the spotlight finally came, it didn't create them. It simply revealed who they had already become. This is what no one wants to hear. If you want the spotlight, you must first survive the silence. The silence is where you'll question yourself. It's where fear will whisper, "This is pointless." It's where doubt will tell you, "No one will care." And this is where you decide, stop or build. Because if you build in silence, if you show up with no applause, if you commit when no one believes, then the spotlight won't be your validation. It will be your proof. You don't need the world to see you right now. You just need to keep building. Because silence is where success begins, and the spotlight is where it ends. Silence is misunderstood. Most people fear it. They think silence means nothing is happening. They think if no one is noticing, it means they're failing. But silence is where the real work lies. Silence is where the foundation is laid. Because when the noise disappears, so do the distractions. And that's when you can finally hear the only voice that matters, your own. This is what most people miss. The spotlight is loud, but growth is quiet. The spotlight demands attention. Silence demands discipline. And discipline is what creates the kind of strength that can survive anything. In silence, there's no one to clap for you. No one to encourage you. No one to remind you why you started. It's just you, your vision, and the work. And this is where winners are born, because they don't need noise to keep moving. They don't need recognition to stay committed. They don't wait to be seen to become great. They keep going when no one notices. They keep building when no one cares. They keep grinding when no one believes. Because they're not doing it for applause, they're doing it for transformation. That's why the silent grind is so powerful. It rewires your mind. It teaches you to rely on yourself. It forces you to be consistent without rewards. It builds a strength inside you that can't be shaken by criticism and can't be inflated by praise. And here's the truth. This strength cannot be built under the spotlight. Because the spotlight brings pressure. It brings comparison. It brings noise that can cloud your focus. But silence sharpens you. It isolates you with your craft. It gives you the space to fail, to learn, to rise again without the world judging every move. It's in this isolation that mastery is forged. Think of every great creator, athlete, or visionary you admire. Their story doesn't begin on the stage. It begins in quiet rooms. It begins in empty gyms. It begins in late-night hours no one ever sees. Because they understood this. You can't become legendary in public until you're relentless in private. While others waste their energy trying to be seen, winners use that energy to get better. They're not chasing validation. They're chasing excellence. And this shift, from performing to improving, is what makes the silent grind unstoppable. Every day you work in silence, you stack discipline like bricks. Every small win no one sees becomes part of the foundation that will carry you. And then, something powerful happens. Your progress starts to move faster. Your confidence grows quietly. Your focus becomes unbreakable. You no longer care if anyone notices, because you've built enough self-respect to keep going without applause. That's when you become dangerous, because while everyone else is waiting to be seen, you're becoming someone they can't ignore. Momentum is invisible at first. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't make noise. It builds slowly, silently, inside you. And this is why most people quit too soon. They expect instant proof. They want immediate results. They need the world to see progress before they've given it enough time to grow. But winners trust the silence. They know that progress starts like a whisper, barely noticeable, easily ignored. But if you keep showing up in silence, that whisper becomes a roar. Because momentum isn't built in the spotlight, it's built in repetition. Not grand moves, not big announcements. Just showing up every day when no one's watching and stacking small wins until they become unstoppable. The first days feel heavy. You'll question everything. You'll wonder if it's worth it. You'll look around and see no recognition, no applause, just silence. But if you keep going through that silence, something starts to shift. You stop needing motivation. You stop needing praise. You stop asking, "Is this working?" and start saying, "I'm becoming." That's the power of quiet momentum. It turns effort into identity. At first, discipline is something you do. Then it becomes who you are. And when that happens, you become unstoppable. Because you no longer need external energy to move. You generate your own. This is why silent grinders always win in the long run. They don't burn out chasing attention. They don't break down from comparison. They don't slow down when things get quiet. They accelerate. While others post about their goals, they're building them. While others talk about consistency, they're proving it. While others pause to wait for motivation, they've already finished the day's work. And when people finally notice, it looks sudden. It looks like they came out of nowhere. But they didn't. They came from silence. They came from the long, invisible days no one else had the patience to survive. That's why their success feels inevitable. Because by the time the spotlight hits them, they've already become too strong to be stopped. And this is what the world never sees. Success isn't about explosive moments. It's about quiet momentum that refuses to stop growing. So when you feel unseen, when your progress feels small, when the silence feels suffocating, remember this. The silence isn't a sign you're failing. It's proof you're building. Stay there. Stay quiet. Stay relentless. Because if you can keep moving while no one notices, there will come a day when no one can ignore you. There comes a point in the journey when silence stops feeling empty and starts feeling powerful. At first, it felt lonely, like you were invisible, like nothing was happening. But over time, something inside you changed. You stopped needing proof. You stopped chasing applause. You stopped asking for permission. And that's when you became dangerous, because now you're not building for attention, you're building for mastery. This is the transformation that silence creates. While the world is distracted by noise, you've been building roots. Deep, unshakable roots. People won't see them. They'll only see the results later. But you'll know where the strength came from. From the quiet, consistent work done with no witnesses and no validation. This is what makes you unshakable. Because when the spotlight finally hits, you won't be caught off guard. You won't feel the need to perform. You'll already be what they expect you to be, and more. Most people crumble when attention comes because they weren't ready for it. They wanted recognition more than preparation. They chased validation instead of discipline. So when the pressure arrives, they collapse. But not you, because you chose the opposite path. You chose silence. You chose the struggle. You chose to be unseen now, so you could be undeniable later. And in that silence, you built more than skill. You built self-trust. You taught yourself, if I say I'll do it, I'll do it, even if no one is watching. That kind of trust is rare. It's powerful. It's what allows you to walk into any room, any challenge, any opportunity, and stand tall. Because you're not guessing who you are. You've already proven it to yourself in thousands of silent hours no one else survived. That's what the spotlight will never show. The real work that created you. It won't show the nights you stayed up alone. The days you worked with nothing to show for it. The doubts you fought silently and won. But you will remember. And that memory will protect you. It will remind you that the spotlight didn't build you. The silence did. And that's why you won't break. Because you're not here to perform. You're here to last. Spotlight builds moments. Silence builds legacies. And that's what you are now building. Not quick attention, but something that will outlive the noise. And then it happens. After all the silent days, after all the lonely nights, after all the work no one noticed, the world finally looks your way. The spotlight finds you. The noise returns. The same people who ignored you now say they always believed. They see the results. They see the strength. They see the confidence. And they think it happened overnight. They will never know. They will never understand what it took to stand here. They will never see the countless days you built in silence while they waited to be seen. But that's the beauty of it. They don't need to know. Because you know. You remember. You remember the moments when quitting felt easier. You remember the battles no one saw. You remember the silence that almost broke you and ultimately built you. The spotlight may show your success, but it will never show your becoming. It won't show the doubt you pushed through. It won't show the pain you carried quietly. It won't show the nights you kept going with nothing but faith in your chest. But you'll know, and that knowing will make you unshakable. Because you didn't win for applause. You didn't rise for recognition. You didn't climb for the spotlight. You did it because you made a promise to yourself, and you refused to break it. And now, the spotlight is just the echo of that promise. But here's the truth. This isn't the end. This is only the beginning. Because now you carry a responsibility. To keep building. To stay grounded. To stay silent even as the noise grows. Because the same silence that built you is the silence that will keep you sharp. And when the noise fades, as it always does, you will still be here. Still building. Still rising. Because you no longer need the spotlight. You've already become who you were meant to be. And this is the message you carry to the world. Success is not found in attention. It's built in silence. So stop waiting to be seen. Stop asking for applause. Stop measuring your worth by who's watching. Go quiet. Go focused. Go relentless. And build. Because when the world finally sees what you've created, it will look sudden. It will look like magic. It will look like you appeared from nowhere. But you and I will know the truth. You came from the silence. You came from the grind. You came from the place where success is truly built.